at $544,500 and proposed to be reduced to $284,900 to be approved by the town board in accordance with procedures contained in Chapter 187-7F of the Town Code. The applicant has submitted a request for the reduction of $259,600 from the original restoration bond estimate for review and approval of the planning board, consulting engineer, and the planning board.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
A second by Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing no opposed, motion carries. All right, number 2 on the agenda, minutes of September 16, 2024. Anybody review the minutes?
Yes.
Can someone make a motion to?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of September 16th, 2024.
Second?
Second.
Stephen, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, new business. Does anybody have any new business?
It's a record for getting to new business at
Yeah,
7:05.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is there anything we can do about the Route 22 traffic coming like from the 55 overpass towards Hannaford's, that stretch of road? They come by
Where
down there.
the light at Quaker Hill?
Well, from the town corner, from the 22 corner where it intersects on Main Street, all the way down to Hannaford's, there's a big stretch, a downhill stretch, and all we see is 18, foot trailers, 18-wheel trailers coming down with their J-braking all night long. I mean, it's for the neighborhood in Fenwood, it's really horrendous. But somebody's going to get killed on that road because they come down there 60, 70 miles an hour when it should be a 35 zone in the town. And there should be a posted sign that says 35. I think if we as the planning board send a request to the town board to evaluate the situation, maybe it'll get on it.
Actually, it would be DOT.
Right.
Oh, be
so-
the DOT, but we could put up a
That's the state.
sign as a town.
That's a state
We
road.
could put up a sign as a town, we have, it is a 35 miles limit in the town.
But that's a good point, Doc, just because we were trying to slow down the speed on our road, so we're on Herd's Corners Road, and so I called the Department of Transportation, or the Supervisor of Transportation, Bill, and he said that someone on the town board is working on a new reduced town speed limit, that Pawling doesn't have a town speed limit, and that is it Colleen who's working on it? Colleen Snow?
That's
Or
correct.
Corinne? So he was recommending that we wait until what I understood is that we actually don't have a speed limit in Pawling,
That's correct.
and that Corinne's working on the speed limit, and then once that's implemented, that signage will trickle out to all of these roads that don't have signs on them, and that's when enforcement would really start. But I don't know if we can find out the maybe we just have to look at
Well,
town.
one of the things that needs to be understood is that any speed limit sign or any signage is going to be the responsibility of the owner of the road. And so we have state roads, we have county roads, and we have town roads. So if you drive through the town of Pawling, you'll see lots of speed signs because they're on county roads. Where you have a town road, which are fewer, you don't, well, not necessarily fewer, I don't know how many, you don't see speed signs, and that's what is before the town board at the moment. I believe the road you're talking about, Doc, is a state.
It is, it's Route 22.
So there's nothing the town can do other than maybe communicate to the DOT.
Well, that's what I
Petition
think.
the
I think
DOT.
it shouldn't come from the planning board, it should come from the town board. But I don't know if the town board is aware of it, and if the planning board is aware of it, why can't we just kind of send a little note, a field note, hey, say, look into this, because we've had complaints from residents. So, I mean, they're not gonna go to the town board directly, they should. But I've had people come up to me and said, can't you do anything about this? I said, well, we're the planning board. It's the town board's responsibility to actually act on it. But if we're aware of it, I don't know if they're aware of it. I haven't been to the town board to find out if they are or not. But I think,
Well, you yourself can, as a
I can go there, yeah, of course I
citizen,
can
well,
as
you
a
can
citizen.
also just reach
But
out.
if we're all in agreement as a planning board,
Have we got,
I'm not sure that I even understand the issue.
Yeah, I'm not-
I gotta
I'm
be
not
honest with
either.
you. I
the
don't
issue
know.
is somebody's gonna get killed on,
I
because there's an
understand
intersection
your concern.
on my
That's not
corner
the
and
issue.
Fenwood Drive intersects with 22, and people cross that road. There were 2 accidents on it last year. One was John Tomes. He almost got killed. A girl hit him crosswise as he was coming across 22. And that's just one guy I know. And I know one other accident, but I'm sure there was others that I didn't see.
Is there a crosswalk there, or
Well, there should be a light there, but of course, that'll take forever to get a light there.
are you
There's a
talking
stop
where,
sign.
where Rooney Motors is and
Yeah,
Glad
Rooney
Air,
Motors,
right there,
Rooney
that road?
Motors, across the street to the refrigeration people, whatever they are. And that intersection is the worst intersection ever, because the cars come down 60, 70 miles an hour, and you're misjudging the speed of those cars. Somebody's gonna misjudge that speed and get killed. That's what's gonna happen.
but the speed limit on that road is not,
55.
it's not 35
No.
miles an hour.
No, it's probably 50.
It's 55.
Right.
55.
Right.
Well, they're going 65, 70. There used to be a state trooper up near Hannaford's intercepting people coming down that hill.
Maybe it's more about enforcement.
But when I went to the state trooper barracks to ask about it, he says, yeah, I used to sit there, he said, but they moved me. So there's nobody there.
They're still there. I drive through there
Yeah,
a lot
I've
during the
seen
day.
them there.
They're
Sometimes,
still-
I mean, I'll-
Yeah, well, you can't put
Has
it,
it whenever they want, feel like.
you can't have an officer there every day,
No,
right, so.
should be a light there, that's really what should be.
Well, someone should look at that whole area, because it's very close to the Castagna
It is,
property
right
where we
next
have
to-
people walking
Walk in.
with shopping bags on 22. You know, so all that, someone could look at that holistically, I think was a good idea for lots of reasons, right?
Well, I think
Nice
we
to have a
all,
roundabout there.
Yeah,
Roundabout, or, yeah.
but even the light, at Quaker Hill doesn't slow these people down.
No, that's
So
where
where-
they start.
That's where they start speeding.
Yeah, that's where they start.
'Cause it's a
speeding.
straightaway.
Now you got ASP.
But if you had a roundabouts down closer to where Hannaford's, the new proposed Hannaford's, if you had roundabouts like you do in Arlington, by Arlington High School, that would progressively slow all this traffic even before it comes down.
Yeah.
It's really the
And
tractor trailers that you.
Ron Gaynor has actually we've talked about it with Ron Gaynor about something like that, and then that would benefit
is it
the area.
directly across from Castagna? Like, is it?
No, it's
No,
not.
it's offset,
Diagonal,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, north.
so that complicates it a little bit, but to your point, a rotary kind of could fit, you know.
Yeah. it's still-
Well, even if you had them more down by M&T Bank, right there, right before there.
Well, there's a light there.
Well, there
Well,
should
there's
be,
a light there, but if you had a roundabout
should
there,
be a sign that says no.
people
J-
would eventually stop,
Should be a sign
slow
that says
down.
no J braking, town limits or whatever the story is.
Well, it's a state road, so the
I guess
state's
the
gonna.
question becomes ultimately, how does the planning board via the town, or the town via the planning board, what have you, communicate with DOT about safety concerns on their roads in our town?
But best thing to do is him do it as a resident, to reach out to the state first. That's what I would do.
Oh,
You,
no, they don't listen to personal people.
yeah, they're not gonna listen to the town board either, I mean, it's
Sure
like
they
a-
will. The town board has some clout.
Well, the county, we had a conversation with the county a few years ago, too, about trying to build a greenway, sort of walking, bike riding deal that would go down Dutcher and then have go sort of a footbridge, bike bridge across 22 and down. So I think you put all that together, and it's probably worth the county or the state looking at it and applying for grants. And so I think, from a planning perspective, it would be appropriate if we look at that holistically, to send a letter maybe to the town board or to someone, to the county, I don't know, but just to say, this, from the 55 down to Aikendale, someone should look at that holistically with long-term planning of all traffic and pedestrian considerations. And it could include your
Right.
concerns and the long-term plan and all the things, and it comes up, the Castagna people, the seniors
Oh, we
walking
talked
on
about this many,
22.
the speed on
Yeah,
22.
so
we
it's sort
talked
of
about it
adding
many
up
times, yeah.
now, and I think it'd be worth
If
somebody
you're gonna
They're gonna
start-
develop that property that's, who owns it? Joanne knows. The one next to Fenwood. 500 acres or 400 acres.
Oh, yeah.
It's all
I forget
conservation.
who's-
They're gonna develop
It's-
that property
It's
eventually.
on the market.
It could be developed very
Tudor
limited.
Jones's?
It's 3/4 of it is in conservation or wetland. And so there may be a few homes built in it, but,
Well, there's gonna be some, I think it's commercially zoned.
The mixed business
Yeah, mixed
industry.
business use.
If you're gonna start studying that corridor, you should go right down to the town line and say, what kind of uses do we wanna see on this corridor too, you know? 'Cause,
Yeah.
the sewer, I think, also ties
Well,
into
yeah,
this conversation,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah, because when the sewer goes through, those properties are gonna be more valuable, and then there's gonna be development pressures, and then what do you want that development to be?
Ronnie, I think it
Right.
can't hurt if we
And what
can
are you gonna
write a
increase
letter
your
to the town board that
FAR
we discussed it.
for the
and
buildings?
Is there
height
any,
and
you know,
Square
ongoing,
footage setbacks you can
you know,
decrease?
plans to do it? And like Jay says, holistically, that area is a problem right now.
Okay, if you want to work on drafting a letter, that's sure, it's fine with
Me
me.
to draft a letter?
Sure.
I'll leave it to Jay to draft the draft.
I don't think Jay's that interested.
I have my assistant chat GPT.
Oh, okay, ChatGPT.
I'll help Jay do it.
I'll work,
I'm
with,
sure
I'll
you
work
will.
with you on
You
it.
work with
I'll
me.
work
I'm
with you
sure,
on it.
okay.
I'll get you something
I'll get
to
you something
review.
in writing, yes.
Okay, well, draft it up and let's take a look at it and we'll vote on it. Anybody else?
I know the last meeting, there was talks about some meeting on Starkdale, that there was a meeting with the Starkdale legal team that you and Jay, did I hear that right? There was some sort of meeting that was gonna happen?
No.
Didn't happen?
No, not with Starkdale.
Not with Stark?
No, but while we're on the subject of Starkdale, we're going to be looking for a planner.
Yes.
Ron Gaynor did draft a letter that we're going to put out and circulate
Okay, cool.
for a planner for us, and that would come out of their escrow.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So,
do we have to answer that letter that we received from?
Which one?
Frogs?
no, that's just a,
That
that's
was
just
actually
a,
directed to the town board.
Yeah.
anyways, right, but-
that's just a letter of where they're at and just like,
Not approving it, that's all.
well, yeah, they don't agree with
They
it.
don't want to deal with it.
Right, but where I was getting is, we're going to start doing interviews.
Okay.
I would like at least two of you guys to help me interview
Who you're interviewing?
potential planners,
Yeah, I'm happy.
Who you interviewing?
I'd be interested.
potential planners for the Starkdale project.
Our planners?
I'd be interested. To
Okay,
consider, but
good.
this is like, because this letter came from the Dover planner, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll probably do the interview via Skype or Zoom or whatever. Who else would be interested?
Well,
I'm
you got-
interested.
You have three right there, right? So,
Who?
Jay and.
You definitely want to do it? Okay. Okay, Jay and Jen, okay, perfect.
I just
You
want,
sent me a while ago, you sent me a company to look into possibly.
they would be like a consultant, a special consultant, but probably not the planner at the detail, like in all the engineering
Okay.
review.
All right,
But I
so-
think worthwhile, because they are, I think out of Massachusetts, but they are aligned with sort of these alternative approaches where it's trying to, they're trying to do some different things with this project that this group specializes in, that we haven't really seen a project. There's some aspects of this that we haven't seen. I think it might, but I would say that we gotta get the real higher caliber,
Use
deeper
them
bench.
for specialized
Yeah,
things.
and then
Okay.
maybe we get an opinion from them on some things, but in coordination with the planner. But I think it's worth noting that, this memorandum confirms kind of what I assumed, was that Dover is gonna wanna declare lead agency, which makes sense, because they have most of the project. But we just have to, that means they can approve it for secret. We don't have any voting power over that. We have separate voting power around site plan approval, right?
Zoning.
Do we have to accept this as one application, meaning, why does one of us have to be lead agency?
That's how secret works.
But we could say, you're filing a separate
It
application.
is a separate application.
Right, so then
It's a
secret,
coordinated action.
Yeah.
but is that, the coordinated action is at whose discretion?
There is we could contest the lead agency technically, right? But as I understand secret, I'm not a secret expert, but you might have an action that has multiple approvals from multiple agencies, and that's the coordinated action, and just one of them has to raise their hand and make a declaration that we are the lead, and then everybody else is,
Well-
concerned, right?
Well, no, we could,
Well, we could contest it, that's what
Yeah.
I said, but we.
but once we contest it, that will go into a different review.
Yes, right.
So that would be more of a,
And the basis would be flimsy. They have the majority of the acreage is in their
right, but
town,
it also affects us.
100%. So I guess what I wanted to say is that for that reason, and as well as like, just in terms of the dynamics with these three big parties, right? You've got the developer, Pawling and Dover. The sooner we can start having conversations with Dover and align with them and create a working methodology with them and partnership with them, it's going to be better for Pawling and Dover.
Well, committees have to be set up to discuss it. Can't be-
There's a lot of things that have to happen. So the first step is hiring, getting the advice, because we don't have it. We're not,
Why don't we go to the planner that laid out the, plan for Pawling?
the
The comprehensive plan?
the comprehensive plan?
What?
I forgot the name of the agency
Yeah.
that did it. What was the name of the
What's the
agency?
name of that?
Morris Associates?
Morris
Morris
Associates,
Associates.
yeah.
But the original comprehensive plan was done by BJF, who's now for the developer. The developer hired them.
Oh, okay.
I only say because Morris Associates, they had that woman,
Liz.
Liz, yes.
Liz,
Yeah, she's a
It was-
smart cookie.
and she was pretty in-depth.
Well, we
Maybe
can
too
send
much.
a letter if the board wants to,
Yeah, Ron's got a list of,
Morris, I
It's
mean,
gonna
now
be a
it's
process.
CPL, but we can send her a letter.
Well, she has a lot of familiarity with what's going on in the town. More so than anybody else.
yeah, we have to go through the whole interview process too, so. So that's the story. So Jen and Jay?
Yep.
And once we send out the letters and we get back and coordinate. Hopefully, Starkdale will be on the agenda in November, either the first or second meeting.
Do we want to try and open a line of communication with Dover?
I don't know, I think I'd like to talk to the planner first. I think that might be, get some advice.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think
That's,
Starkdale's in front of the Dover Planning Board
Tonight.
Yeah, my concern is that their ship starts sailing
Right.
before
haven't-
and then we're playing catch up.
There's not much we could do about that now.
Well, I mean, I'm saying maybe we should have this conversation, but I agree, it's not ideal, we want to plan with it. But
You know,
maybe
I mean,
Mike and Brendan can be there.
I didn't think of it that way. It's a good point.
Well, doesn't the lead agency do? make
Well,
us- were the ones who
they're
made
not,
us-
they didn't declare themselves lead agency.
Yeah.
They haven't, no, but it's leaning that way.
So,
Memo confirms that.
Would we want to declare it ourselves lead agency?
no, but we would want to,
I think it makes a lot of sense to have Mike or Brendan here to discuss the specifics of what those roles entail and what it means for us to not be or be lead agency and stuff. It may not be as consequential as we are, or it may be very consequential. I don't want to put words in his mouth. But right now, I'm unclear as to what the ramifications of all of that are. I have my concerns already about this application, and I'm curious to know how the lead agency aspect will dictate and affect some of those concerns. So let's get those questions from him and a planner.
So, yeah, I mean, we did have one conversation with Mike, where we had a conversation about just, it was administrative conversation focused on fees and just how they're being calculated. But during that conversation, Mike clarified, for me at least, that, you know, it's important to separate the zoning changes from the site plan application, right? Those are two separate actions. They're related, right? But, and the zoning plan, the petition for zoning changes itself will be part of a secret review. Like, are those changes appropriate in the context of the state environmental quality review, right? And it could go through, that could go through SECRA, and SECRA could say they're totally copacetic, there's no issues, it's environmentally sound, and there's no issues, and we are under no obligation to approve any of those changes to the zoning. So we have total control as a town over how we accept or modify or don't accept the zoning petition, just
Okay.
regardless of SECRA, right? Just because that's how it works, right? And we already have existing zoning on the books, we can just be like, that's what it is, you know? I'm not saying that's what we should do, I'm just saying, just in terms of, that's a separate action, right? And then there's a secret review for the actual the site itself, which is separate from the zoning changes.
Locations of
that's-
buildings,
All of that detail.
utilities,
exactly.
access.
And that, again, it can have a secret outcome, and the value of the secret process, it can surface a lot of issues, the studies and all these other things. And it can be approved from a secret perspective, or a neg deck, or whatever the outcomes are. And we're still not obligated to approve a site plan. That would be harder to make an argument at that point than the zoning changes, because it's, because there are certain rights.
Right.
If you're conforming to zoning and there's no secret
We have no
problems,
obligation to
there's
change.
not, it's hard, there's less to stand on.
We have no obligation to change the zoning.
But we have zero, even if it's 100% copacetic from a secret perspective.
Right. Right, understood.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
That's super helpful, but I think to that note, so the next step is the planning, putting that out to hire a planner, but then separately, do we want to follow up with Jay's suggestion, and Aaron, you seem open to that, the idea of meeting with Dover before that or during that process, or creating some sort of, I mean, what's the idea there that we
Well,
create?
I mean, I don't think we're far off from hiring a planner.
Okay.
I mean,
Oh, I don't know.
I
So
mean,
I
I
don't
don't
know the
think it-
timeline, and so I just want to make
I would
sure.
imagine it's weeks away. It's not,
Okay.
it's not months away. So,
Who pays the planner?
take it out of escrow, their escrow,
Their escrow,
yeah, which we don't have yet.
right?
So that's the other thing, they still didn't replenish their escrow. So we're still waiting. So meanwhile, Ron drafted a letter to solicit for,
Start getting it out tomorrow.
and to solicit for planners. Till then, meantime, they still have to replenish their escrow and get them back on the agenda. But, yeah, I mean, if we could reach out to Dover, I mean,
Did you? 3 board and 3 board member, maybe Zoom meeting, just for an introduction to part of the Dover? I mean, I can ask if you want. Or do you want?
No, it's up to
full
you.
boards,
It's up to
2
you
full-
guys, you
It's up
know,
to them, up to you guys, or do you
yeah.
want both full boards together?
I mean, I think as we get further in, there'll probably be deeper meetings. but
Yeah, I
feel
think
like
it's
just like a
still-
half hour with the chair and vice chair from each town, just as like a opening the line of communication and get to know you call, at least, you know?
Okay.
Is probably, I would think would be worth it. And in that call, you know, spitball some ideas for what would be an ongoing structure,
That's what I think
involved, et
makes sense.
cetera. Yeah.
To at least get started, because it's like moving the two ships, of like at least have the conversation to say, hey, we're all aligned that we need to meet more as this goes on. What does that look like?
Yes, and the reality is, if we are on the same page with Dover, it's a very much stronger and more efficient position to be in.
And understanding their concerns, them understanding ours, because, yeah, we can watch again Starkdale go in front of their board, but then we're just kind of like doing detective work, like, do they like the idea? Do they not like the idea? What do they think? It's like a little bit of, we're not sure, and it's like a lot riding on this, so I support that. Not to add more meetings to everyone's plates, but I support that.
No,
I
I'm
can.
the last person who wants to create another meeting, but it feels worth it.
All right, we could do that. So Joanne, you wanna
Mhm.
try to schedule something from that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?